Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but your singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.
Get more for your money every time you shop Meijer. Start shopping for the season's best holiday toy deals, like buy one, get one 50% off when you mix or match select toys from Barbie, Nerf, Hot Wheels, Disney Princess, Coco Melon, and more. And pick up a meal that helps you feel warm and cozy with buy one, get one 50% off beef, lamb, or pork roasts. Whether it's gifts, roasts, or fresh produce, you get the same low Meijer prices no matter how you shop, in-store or online. Get more for your money at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by the returning Damon McDonald. It is Sunday 30th of October 2022. This is episode 232. Ben speaks for a lot of listeners who've been writing in. Damon, who says, no question this week, just a welcome back, Damon. It's great to have you back on the podcast. We missed you.
Thank you. I wish I could say it was under wonderful circumstances, like a holiday somewhere, lying on the beach. But no, unfortunately, it was a shitty 2 weeks all around the McDonald household. But we are fine. We will get through, and electric boogaloo. So, yes, happy Halloween, everyone. I'm back. Thank you for and also let me just say that excellent job as always by you, Joel, steering the ship, and a great job once again by going to the bullpen and getting help from Chris Sampson, which is always awesome to hear. What a great dude he is, and Booze Leprechaun Nicole once again hitting it out of the park. So. Look, we have a vast resource we can tap when needed. So much appreciated.
Yes, I had a great time talking to those two. So thank you very much for filling in. And you mentioned Halloween, Damon. Any favourite spooky movies? I know you're not a huge fan of them, but have you got any that you going to be popping on over the next couple of days?
Yes, it's called the Phillies World Series. It's a scary movie.
It sounded quite exciting. You won, didn't you? You had a big comeback.
We had, yes, game one was we came down from 5 runs, which was, the team's pretty amazing in that. They're very resilient. And the strategy here, Joel, is best of 7, right? So the team with the better record gets 2 games in their ballpark, and then it moves to 3 games in, the kind of like the underdog position. And to get 1 is tremendous, because now you got home field advantage. And I'm telling you what, the fans here in Philly are just fucking maniacs. They're just maniacs, and they are a difference maker in what they can rattle a team. So. Yeah, listen, we split. We lost last night, but that was to be expected. And we'll go. We're coming home, and I think we're going to do pretty well. I'm pretty excited about that. So that's good news. The Leafs, they stink. They are terrible start to a season. Not terrible, but whatever. Now, to answer your question about scary movies, I don't like to be scared. Like I get angry when I get scared. Like if something scares me, I kind of. I don't know. I get mad. I can't go to like those haunted hayride things and shit like that, because I'm just like a fucking. I just don't like being scared at all. But what's my favorite scary Halloween movie? Fuck. I'll go with the classic Nightmare on Elm Street. That's probably my favorite. And, I haven't seen it in years, but I'll go Nightmare on Elm Street. Yours is Texas Chainsaw, right?
It is, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw out a recommendation this year. This is quite a deep cut, so I don't think many people would have heard of this, let alone seen it. So it's called Ghost Watch. I think it was 1992, so it was a BBC mockumentary. So at the start, they have on the screen, this is dramatization, this is not real, they're acting, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people miss that. So the way it's presented is like, we've got news reporters who are going to be spending the night at a spooky haunted house. Very sort of English, sort of BBC style. So just the way it's set up and the way it plays out is just really, I think, tremendous. I think it's aged really well. So there's nothing sort of overtly horrific in there. It's just very, very well executed. So if you haven't seen it, you, Damon, or listeners, I would check out Ghost Watch for your Halloween viewing. It's a bit different.
Sounds awesome, actually. It reminds me of so back in the day, in the 80s, there was always the Cold War and, everything U.S. against Russia and the threat of nuclear devastation and blah, blah, blah. So they had this show, I think it was called The Day After or something like that. And that's exactly kind of how it was with the show you just described, where it was like, the whole thing was shot around like news footage, like you were watching like live breaking news going on. And this guy had a nuclear bomb on a pier. He was like a environmental protester, and the thing actually went off and blew up the city and shit. And fucking, it was so scary at the time. The Day After. I remember or is it? Was that the Day After? I forget which one that was.
A similar thing happened with this Ghost Watch thing, that a lot of people didn't realize it was fake.
Right.
And they were like thousands of phone calls and letters of complaint, like, oh, my kids were watching this, they're traumatized now, rah, rah, rah.
It's those type of things. I don't know. I've always had this, like even growing up, like I loved it. Again, it wasn't always good news when it happened, but like I just loved the idea of like breaking news. But back in the day, because it would like interrupt a TV show and be like, Dan Rather, CBS News, breaking news. And then something fucking horrific they would report. But I don't know. There was something about that during that time that it was like, now everything's breaking news. Somebody fucking farts and it's breaking news. And back then it was just, I don't know. Why are we talking about this? It's weird.
Well, I said you mentioned the Maple Leafs earlier, so I don't know if you saw this. So I got a question on the Discord from Uncle Howdy. It says, "Can Damon speak some sense into Sean Rossap before he enters a lifetime of disappointment?" So there's a tweet from Sean Rossap. He said, "I've officially embraced the Toronto Maple Leafs as my team. I'm opening this up for questions."
You know what? Listen, I'm going to tell Sean to pick another team. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because you're not. Here's the thing: you're not going to stay because you're just going to realize, why am I doing this? I'm killing myself. The thing with the Maple Leafs, Joel, is in the past 7 years, they've been a good team, a real fun team to watch. Like during the regular season, just they would just really play some fun fucking. And come April, they would get their ass beat and lose in the first round and blah 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 blah. And they have these great players and all this shit. This season, they can't score. They can't do anything. I'm going to tell him to don't. I'll tell him to pick like a team like. How about the Detroit Red Wings? They're fun. They up and coming. Get on that. Get on the Detroit Red Wings bandwagon. Stay away from the Maple Leafs. You're not. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, as we speak, Damon, I'm watching Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest on my phone. So we've just scored an excellent goal after 5 minutes. So good times here. I would just interrupt you if more goals happen. So
please,
there we go.
Please,
good old sports, lovely sports.
Yes.
Oh shit! Oh,
another?
It's not going to make for a good podcast. No, Forest nearly scored, and I got scared.
I got scared. Halloween, everything's scary. All right. How are you? I haven't talked to you in a little bit. How's everything going with Joel and all these activities and all these the kids growing and walking and running, and your stomach is getting tore up with fucking ulcer. What's going on?
Okay, well, so Mally has been in this WhatsApp group with a load of other mothers of kids who were born in like October, November.
Okay.
So over the last month or so, every weekend we've had someone's 1 year birthday party to go to. Well, you made that sound. It's been fucking good, man, because the food and the drink, I just turn up. I don't talk to anyone. You know, there's all the dads like hanging out talking about business and golf and stuff. And man's like, do you want to go talk to the other dads? I'm like, fuck no. I want the cold cuts. I want the drink. Where's the birthday cake?
Where's the shrimp?
So just sitting at the buffet table, just stuffing my face with all this fancy food, just sitting down playing with my kids. And they're like, you don't want to make any new friends? I'm like, nope, I'm good.
I got plenty. Thanks. That's all right. So then you literally have reservations at a restaurant, basically. Oh, nice.
I've given them scores. I'm like, well, this wasn't as good as last week's party, but room for improvement here.
Yeah. They had prime rib at this one. This one stinks. Cheese board. Well, that's good. All right.
It was a vegetarian one today. Which actually wasn't bad. I feared the worst when they said, "Oh, everything's vegetarian." I was just like, "Mally, start the car up. We're going home." But I came around in the end. It was all right.
All right. Yeah, I bet you the food's probably fucking tremendous. Yeah. See, that's good. But it's just a room full of screaming kids, dude. Oof.
It's worse for me because I've got two of the fuckers, so I'm just chasing Esther around. Like all the other kids, they're like 1 year old. So a 1 year old can only do so much. I mean, Arthur's fairly mobile, but you know he can't. He's little and he's not that fast, so you can usually catch him before he does any serious damage. But just throwing Esther into the mix, they are a wild tag team. I'll tell you that.
They're fucking bushwhackers running around. Yeah, that seems very stressful, very tiring. You got to be exhausted. Are you exhausted? Like, would you say in a given day, you stop and pause and be like, I'm so fucking tired? How many times a day do you just stop and say, I'm fucking exhausted?
Yeah, I don't have time to be tired, man. There's too much going on. If I sort of stop and think about it, it's when I stop doing stuff that I realise how tired I am. So I just have to keep going. I've just come to terms with the fact I'm never going to get as much sleep as I want. I'll get as much as I need, but the fun and the joy of parenting more than make up for it. Like we went to the beach for a couple of days during our October break and stayed at this nice resort. I can't remember if I've told this story already, but turned around for 1 minute, turned back, Esther's disappeared.
Oh.
Where was she? She'd run to the beach. She was in the fucking ocean.
Oh my God.
Her chest.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they can get into shit, right? Just fucking seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, she's fearless. Like there's none of that sort of separation anxiety, like wanting to stay close to mum and dad. She was just, I don't know where she think she was going. She was like swim across the Pacific or something.
She's doing shots at the bar. Tequila, another one.
That's what happened today. She was dipping her finger into people's shots of gin. Although why there were shots of gin within reach of children, I don't know. But
oh my goodness, did she like it? was she going back for more? She was like,
she's quite fussy when it comes to her gin.
Really, she has a brandy after her bottle. Well, good for them. You know, they're exploring.
Speaking of booze, I went to a Japanese bar last night, like a izakaya style place. You know, best kinds of place to go. So I was having a drink with my friend, and I ordered a drink which was shochu. You know, that kind of spirit that they put in, you know, shit like high strong zeros and stuff like that. That soda water, a red chili, and a shiso leaf. What's shiso? I can't remember what that is in English. You know the leaf I mean? It's like looks a beefsteak plant or perilla leaf.
Okay.
It's fucking disgusting, David.
Right, sounds like lawn clippings.
I was just like, this is horrible. Why did I just have the grape sour?
Yeah. Can I just have a glass of water, please? This is like catch-up episode. I know that. 13 minutes in, we haven't talked one fucking thing about wrestling, but okay, we will. Did I tell you I did that fucking chip challenge?
No, you didn't.
Fuck, I did.
The
yes,
one
I
chip
did.
challenge?
The one chip challenge.
Why? Why did you?
I was drunk.
Did you not learn from my mistake?
I was drunk. You know I make terrible decisions when I drink.
Stealing my gimmick, my friend.
I know. I know. Let me tell you something. I have a newfound respect for you in the sense that you did that. And just, I mean, you didn't no sell it, but it wasn't like you were just kind of like, okay, it's hot, blah, 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 blah. Dude, I felt like
disgusting though. It was horrible. It tasted bad.
Yes.
Like putting the spiciness to one side, like the spiciness, yeah, it was really spicy, but it just tasted like dog shit.
Yeah. It was like eating a shoe. Yeah. And then your tongue turns blue and shit. I don't know. But
did you get stomach cramps?
Stomach cramps? Dude, I felt every organ in my body shutting down. I felt my liver stop, my kidney shut down. Yeah, everything. Like there was liquid coming out of every hole in my body. Let's put it that way. My nose, my ear. Like it was just
cum everywhere.
Cum everywhere. Oh. Diarrhea sprayed. It was terrible. Dude, it was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. And I've done some dumb fucking things. One of the dumbest things I ever did because, well, no, you know what? An hour later, I was back drinking. So it wasn't that bad. But there was that 1 hour was legitimately it fucking hurts. And you can't breathe and you can't catch your breath and you can't swallow your own spit and you can't fucking open your eyes. You're in pain. You feel like everything's going to just fucking, you feel like your toenails are going to shoot off your feet. It's just the worst.
So you didn't feel like discussing pro wrestling for an hour after eating it?
I don't know how. No. I had all I could do to fucking blink my eyes. It was just dumb. Like, I had a couple, we had a couple people over. And we were like, this was before leave. This was before I stepped aside for a second. Because we had people over and there's like a convenience store around, a couple blocks away. And we got like all kinds of fucking snacks. So, and they had it there. And I was like, fuck it, I'm buying it. I'm getting it. And everybody was like, why would you do this? Why are you doing this? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to try it. And I did it. And
why would you do it not on a podcast? Like, what a missed opportunity for our listeners.
Because honestly, if that podcast would just be me screaming and spraying diarrhea everywhere and having fucking snot.
So one of our more coherent episodes then.
Right. That'll be the slug. Diarrhea. No, it's not fun. Like here's the thing. I get that like people do it as a gag and it's like a bit and blah, 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 blah. But like, why would you sell it at a convenience store as if, I mean, it says it's very hot, extremely hot, blah, blah, blah. But there's 5 other bags that are doing the same thing, saying extremely hot, whatever. And they're hot, but they're not, this. Like if anybody bought this with like a sandwich, they would be fucking screwed. They'd be fucked. And it comes in a coffin. I mean, not for nothing. It fucking comes in a coffin. Ew, comes in a coffin. Ooh, that's pretty gross. Or hot, depending on how you look at necrophilia. Okay, that's that. So yeah, I did that. I forgot to tell you that. I wanted to, the minute we stopped the last show, I was like, how did I forget to tell him? And there you go. So there's another thing. Here's another thing. All right. What do you say we talk about some pro wrestling 20 minutes into a fucking podcast about pro wrestling?
All right, here's one for you. Fat Cat says, with AEW not an option, WWE unlikely, CM Punk is destined for New Japan. Can you two make a prediction on how Punk will completely destroy his relationship with New Japan and leave the company in a dumpster fire?
He's going to...
How do you see? So let's fantasy put this. So he joins New Japan. And it all goes smoothly for, I don't know, 12 months or whatever.
Yep.
And where does the blow up come in? Is he having a fist fight backstage with Taguchi? Like, who's he pissed off here? Whose pets are getting caught up in the mix? Who's he burying on live TV?
Yeah. It's going to be a show at Corkin, like just a throwaway show, like a 6-man tag, that he's involved in. And he's not. He might have to do a job to like fucking Yoshihashi or something like that, right? And he doesn't want to do it. So and he's grouchy and he's jet lagged and all that shit. And then he just becomes very uncooperative. Let's put it that way. When Yoshihashi is in the ring, and Yoshihashi doesn't appreciate it either. But Yoshihashi feels, all right, I'm going to try and be professional about this. Yoshihashi tags out to Hiroki Goto. Hiroki Goto wants no part of Punk and begins to really lay in some fucking shots. And Punk thinking, all right, well, I got to fight for my life. I'm going to take down Hiroki Goto. And then it breaks down from there. It turns into a little bit of a shoot in the ring. And then that's it. How's that? And then he buries him.
I'm into it.
Yeah, he buries him on the mic. He gets on the mic and he says, "This is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. Fucking, I work with children." And then throws down the mic, storms, and he doesn't go through the back. He leaves right through, and then he gets some chicken fingers at the stand right behind there, and a beer, and then he takes the elevator down, and he walks back to the Tokyo Dome Hotel.
A non-alcoholic beer.
Oh,
or
that's right.
This ordeal with New Japan pushed him to
drink,
lapse him into alcoholism.
He broke his sobriety. Yeah, that's what it was. That's it. And he blames New Japan for breaking his sobriety, making him drink. And then, yeah, I think it's pretty good, actually. I think I did a good job there.
That is great. I was thinking someone like Master Watto, just like fucking sandbagging Punk in the ring. I'm not selling for this prick.
Right. I'm not doing it. What a scenario. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Young Bucks, Omega, they're coming back, right? I saw that, right? Yeah.
It's a shame that we won't get the Punk Tanahashi match. I think that would have been really good.
There's plenty of CM Punk matches I would have loved to have seen. I liked his run. I thought his run was good. I really did. I mean, obviously, it sparked a lot of interest and a lot of money to be had. But in the end of the day, sabotage.
It's the Scorpion and the Frog again, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's what do you expect?
Hey, good news here though. Fantastic Mania's back. Don't know if you saw this. We've got 6 dates to look forward to next year. Late February this time.
Okay.
So this will be starting 22nd of February. We've got dates on the 23rd, 24th, 26th, 27th, and 28th. Now, like, Fantastic Mania has previously been something I would hand wave, but now Fantastic Mania 2020 has this weirdly nostalgic place in my heart because that was sort of the last wrestling I was enjoying before the world completely went to shit. So I was watching that in my apartment in China back when I had my 2 cats, before I had kids, watching, what was his name, Dolce Gardenia trying to kiss Shingo Takagi, and I have just strangely fond memories of that. So I associate Fantastic Mania with a happier time when life was more simple.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think everybody who listens to the show or had listened to the show or whatever knows I'm not the biggest fan of the Fantastic Mania, but I welcome it with open arms because it just means the doors are opening up to a lot of the guys from CMLL that we haven't seen before. Let me take that back. We haven't seen in a while. So I like that. I do like the fact that it's somewhat comfortable in the sense of, okay, we're after the dome and we always have had it and it's back. So that's kind of nice to see, to get that ball rolling. And you know what? At the end of the day, those shows, especially like the last ones, are really good. Like there's always a good match thrown in there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say I'm excited with the news, but I welcome it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's, I don't know, it feels right. It feels like an old sweatshirt that you would wear, an old hoodie that just fits right. And I think that's what it is right here. Nobody's been announced yet, though, right?
No, it's too early for that. But it's like a fun show that you'd have on in the background while you're doing something else. You're not going to be like rubbing your hands together, oh, great, it's time for Fantastic Mania. But I always have a good time when I watch it. There's always something funny or silly to come out of it that made me think, yeah, I'm glad I watched that. I had a good time. Like your analogy, or like a silly friend you haven't seen for a long time.
Right. Yep. Comfortable and one where you can just pick up right where you left off. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you have friends that are like that. Like you haven't seen them in years, but then boom, the minute you get together, it's just like boop. You just slide right into that role and away you go. So, yep, I'm into it. I guess. Yeah. That didn't sound very exciting, but I am. It is good news.
That's about as much enthusiasm as I could have hoped to have got from you about Fantastic Mania. I'll take that. Actually, I'm excited to see what gimmick, quote-unquote, Mexican foods they're going to have at Corazon Hall.
I know. They did that before, didn't they?
Yeah. It's just like, I can't even remember what it was. It was like a hot dog in a tortilla wrap or something like that.
Right. Eddie try. Come on. I love it. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the NJPW World TV Championship. Let's jump straight in with Ren Narita, who defeated Tomohiro Ishii, 14 minutes, 33 seconds with the Narita Special number 4, in front of a red-hot, cheering Korakuen Hall crowd. Damon, this match gave me life. This was like a little taste of what made me fall in love with New Japan in the first place. And just the plaudits that this match has been getting from just people who are lapsed fans, people who sort of stopped watching because they weren't interested in the product, they can deal with the clap crowds, but watch this and were like, fuck yeah, I'm back for this. More of this, please. Are you fully on board the Ren hype train? Like, what did you think of this match?
Oh, absolutely I am. I thought the match was really fucking good. Really great. It was refreshing. It was, it did have a very, mid 2017, 2016 vibe. Ishii, look, as much as it's weird because I think people try to look for criticism to, I don't know, just to get a take, a different take on people, right? So again, the criticism might be of Ishii is that, his matches are the same and a little repetitive and blah, 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 blah. You know what? He's fucking awesome. He really is fucking awesome. And what a perfect way to reintroduce Ren Narita. It's old, but it's refreshing because it's a new face and it's exciting too because you're getting that out of the gate from Ren Narita, and all again, even if you take all the other stuff that he did on, and I'll put in air quotes, excursion, let's say you didn't even watch it. Like, if you watch this match, you are excited for the future. Like that, if you're getting a bunch of that, I mean, that's good news for the future. No fucking doubt. If anybody had any doubts of the future, like that's, there's living proof that the future is bright. Yeah. I mean, look, I think we've seen a lot of really good matches in the past 3 weeks all over the world, but, under the New Japan brand. And this is good too. Excited crowd, and trust me, there was a big part of me that was like, well, he's going to look good. Like Ishii's going to make him look good, and but he's going to lose, right? Nope, 3 count, and I was like, oh wow, here we go, very good. So yeah, I love the match, man. I don't know, I'm assuming you loved it too, but I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a shout for match of the year, the match itself was great, and I've been saying Ren is great for years. Like the moment he stepped foot in New Japan Strong, this was last January when he made his Strong debut, and he beat Chris Dickinson. And as soon as he's beating established names like that, I knew it was just like, well, this guy's going straight to the top, and he's more than just a Shibata clone. I mean, I get the sort of references and the little shout outs and tributes to him, which are intentional, sure, and it's good. But he's not just a clone; it's what he represents, I think, and that sort of hope for the future, as you've been talking about. And there's no one on the roster who's wrestling like him. So, like I said, I've been saying for literally years now that you need to pay attention to Ren Narita. He is week in, week out on Strong, having these sub 50-minute, hard hitting, absolute bangers. And this is exactly what he's going to do on the main roster now. So just strap yourself in, because it's going to be a wild ride. And I want to also give some props to Ishii. I mean, I spoke last week about how it was great to see him working with young guys like Yota Tsuji, the terrific match that they had at Royal Quest 2. And now more of that here with Ren Narita. So not necessarily saying that Ishii's career is winding down. He's not automatically now a dad, but I think I personally enjoy seeing him in these kind of matches with the younger guys, because he doesn't do it as often as I would like. And when he does do it, he's really, really good at making guys like Tsuji and Narita look very strong and accentuating their strengths. So more of that, please.
No doubt. I mean, Ishii's been around the block consistently good, and more often than not great. And now he's I don't want to say in the twilight of his career, but I don't want to say, you're right, like you said, I don't want to say he's like a new dad, but he's doing, I think he has enough stroke that if he said, no, I'm not doing that, I don't think many people will complain. But here's the thing: it's like a rite of passage. As much as we praise the fact that they develop these young lions in a logical sense, they also know, and when I say they, the individual wrestlers know that, okay, and they might not necessarily agree with it at the time, but like the fact that they consistently are okay with putting over younger talent when the time is right, I think says a lot. Because honestly, you got to swallow a little bit of pride. And they're professional. And it only helps the company in the long run. So, the way that Ishii puts over the young talent, and everybody like that. Yuji Nagata's done the same, and Tenzan's done the same, and Kojima's done the same. So Goto's done the same. So I'm very happy with. I don't know. I'm happy with the direction. I just wish we were a little bit more focused. But again, there's many logistical nightmares that are the reason for that. But yeah, I gotta tip my cap to Ishii. For doing what he did for that match.
Now, you haven't seen today's show and the TV title tournament matches. Can I give spoilers for that, or would you rather remain unspoiled?
I mean, give the spoilers, because here's the problem. I don't want to hold back conversation, one. And two, if people will probably have watched it by the time they listen to this. So go ahead.
All right. Well, a very mild spoiler. So obviously Ren went on to have a match with Yano. I won't say the result, but I mean, it's Ren Narita versus Toru Yano. But the minor spoiler I wanted to give was just the way that Ren has been presented. So Yano's coming out, making his entrance. He's barely stepped foot out of the curtain. And this is in that building, the one that looks like an airport departure lounge.
Love it.
So Yano's just coming down the aisle, and Ren gets out of the ring, sprints up to him, and just kicks him straight in the face. Like, doesn't even let him enter the ring. So that's it. I was hoping that he would squash him in 30 seconds. He didn't squash him in 30 seconds. They had a Yano length match, but I just really like the way that Ren started off that match. So again, just little signs there that he is going to be something different on the roster, something to really look forward to. And Andrew writes in and says, between the strong stuff and the Ishii match, has Ren Narita done enough to make the ballot for New Japan Wrestler of the Year?
No.
So,
come on.
I don't think so. I mean, I've watched all his stuff, and I've been higher on it than most. And sort of going back, there's the Shibata match at Wrestle Kingdom. There's Josh Barnett, Buddy Matthews, Jay Lethal, Rocky Romero. That quartet of matches on Strong were really good. There was a Chris Dickinson match that was good. Carl Frederick singles match. The Juice Robinson match from September that everyone was raving about. That was very, very good. But I don't think there's enough there for him to be on Wrestle of the Year ballot. No.
Most improved? Most improved?
I mean, he's been consistently good.
Good already. Yeah. Well, during the whole year.
I think we'll put him on there. We'll put him on there, yeah. I think he deserves it. Because now I think it's less a question of, wow, this guy's really improved, but more like he's having a chance to show his stuff on the stage that we want him to be performing at against the wrestlers that we like seeing perform. Because, it's all well and good going out there having, nice little matches with, Carl Fredericks and Jay Lethal, but, we want to see him against the big hitters in the Japan-based New Japan roster, and that's what we're starting to see now.
Right. I mean, some of the shackles are being released from him. It makes, when you're getting the green light to do big time shit, it's going to look like an improvement. But I kind of feel like he was already good, right? But I even so, I think this year he's going to be he's going to be a star. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I know that we don't want to compare him to Shibata, but we're going to compare him to Shibata. At least I am right now. I mean, you're getting a young, fresh, not as banged up. You know what I mean? That's pretty good. You're getting a fresh guy who can kick some fucking ass in a ring. I like that. That's exciting for me.
Let's talk about this Toru Yano versus Great Khan first round match. So Yano won in 11 minutes 20 seconds. I mean, the match was whatever. I've got nothing to say about that. But of course, it was notable for the Great Muta making a run in at the end and misting Great Khan in the face. And oh my goodness, Great Khan, just a guy who understands pro wrestling. He just gets it. Subsequent shows, Great Khan's turned up with bandages, green stained bandages wrapped around his face, just selling it like an absolute pro. So we do have this 6-man tag match lined up for historic crossover with Muta, Okada, and Yano against Great Khan, Cobb, and Hinare. And there's just more stuff to be intrigued about with Keiji Muto because Hiroshi Tanahashi said, I think this was today, that Muto, quote unquote, passed the assessment that Muto asked for and has invited him to come to New Japan for one last big match. And also, we've got the news coming out that Muto is going to wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura in January for a Pro Wrestling Noah show, which I'm really excited about. I think that will be quite a spectacle. I mean, I don't know what the match will be like, but I'm certainly excited to see it. So, yeah, your thoughts on this Great Muta, Keiji Muto angle, and where do you think it might end up in terms of a big singles match in New Japan? Because, I mean, he said that he's not going to do anything for Wrestle Kingdom because he says he can't do that volume of intense matches in such a short space of time. So I don't know if it's going to be something where he will wrestle, I don't know, maybe it will be a Hiroshi Tanahashi later in January, not at Wrestle Kingdom. But, I mean, personally, I would love to see Great Muta against the Great Khan singles match. I mean, obviously a lot of smoke and mirrors, but just for the spectacle of it, that would be tremendous fun.
Maybe it would be, imagine those entrances if it were like a dome show, right? And knowing that, it is who it is, the spectacular nature in which he has entered a ring before. I love it. Look, again, the guy's knees are shot. The guy's fucking hips are shot. He's still got people know him and people are excited by him. It's to this day. They might not, they know the name. And again, I think Shinsuke can still go, if given the tap. I'm excited for the match. And I know this is not, 1999 or, but I think it'll be intriguing and fun, and buzzworthy. Like, it's buzzworthy now. Okan and Muta, I would love. I think it would be so much fun. I think they could pull it off at the Dome, right? It doesn't. This is a match that doesn't have to be spectacular. You're not looking for stars here. You're looking for moments, and I think that match would deliver perfectly. I think they could pull it off. I hope it's at a Dome. I hope it's at a big event. I hope it's at a bigger event, just because I think the spectacle of it will be well worth a big building, with cheering fans.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if it is just this 6-man. I'd really want to see that as a singles match. And again, like you said, we're not in it for the work rate at this point. Like, Keiji Muto's retiring for a reason. It's about the presentation. Like, we wouldn't be happy if Muto's like going clean over guys like, Okada or Jay White, but having, one-off singles matches where it's all about, the spectacle and the entrances and the moments, that is exactly what we should be doing with Keiji Muto in his last run. So I hope we do get something there. But Michael CC says, if we could hypothetically get Shinsuke at Wrestle Kingdom for one match, which one would you want the most? The correct answer is Naito, by the way. Do you think there's any chance of Shinsuke Nakamura doing something for New Japan, or is this just, he's given this one-off match for Noah, which, WWE have done before. They allowed the then Hideo Itami / Kenta to wrestle, I think it was Marufuji for Noah at one point. So they have done this before. Maybe we're going to get something with Keiji Muto appearing at the WWE Hall of Fame. So I wouldn't be holding my breath for Nakamura doing anything for New Japan. So I'll give you two questions then. One, do you think he will be allowed to do any New Japan work? And two, if he did, in this hypothetical fantasy land, who would you like to see Nakamura wrestle?
Yeah. Here's the problem. I don't think WWE considers Noah competition. So the idea of Shinsuke doing a match for Noah is, that would be his first appearance since 2016, 17, somewhere around there, maybe 18. I don't think I think WWE thinks, and again, I'm speculating, that they're just not competition. It's not a big deal, and let them do that thing, get a payday, and go from there. It's not like they're using him in any big programs right now, from what I understand. The idea, so again, Noah having a relationship in any capacity with WWE, it might just be a one-off. Truth be told, it probably is a one-off. And then with New Japan, I doubt it. I doubt WWE is going to have any type of relationship with WWE, in the sense that, again, they are somewhat competition. To a very look. If you're running shows in the United States, you're probably competition to WWE. Until that day comes for Noah, they're not going to be competition. I'm going to say I think it's a less than 20% chance that Shinsuke Nakamura will be in a New Japan ring under a WWE contract.
Let's say it does happen. Who would be your dream opponent in New Japan for a hypothetical singles match?
You know who I think would be really good? I'd like to see Ospreay. But I also think like a guy like Jay White would be really good too. Naito would be good as well. I don't know if like you want to have Tanahashi in there. I don't know if we need to see that again. Maybe. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah, I would say Will, Jay, or Naito.
I think Ren would be a fun match, actually. Just having the King of Strong Style against the Son of Strong Style. That would be
if we're going there, yeah.
Smack each other a lot.
I like that. I mean, that's a nice, that's a nice spot for Ren as well, Do you think he would get a win? Do you think Shinsuke puts him over?
No, I don't.
No.
And I think that kind of thing's probably too early. Oh, Jesus Christ, Arsenal, what are you doing? A bit early in the career for Ren. So I'll put that one on ice for now, because I will talk to you about predictions for this TV title tournament. But I'll just touch on some matches from. So this was Thursday at Korakuen Hall. So you haven't seen these matches, David, but we had Evil defeating Yoshihashi in 9 minutes 48 seconds with the Evil. So Evil advances to the semi-finals. And Arametha asks, is Yoshihashi Evil's best rivalry? And it's very, very close. It's either him or Zach. And Evil and Zach, they've got this brilliant chemistry together where Zach has just got Evil's number and always seems to catch him with flash pins and frustrates him. So seeing them wrestle each other in the semi-finals is going to be a lot of fun. But it was just great to see that. I think the Yoshihashi Evil feud has a bit more story to it, a bit more bad blood. There's a bit more sort of passion and intensity and emotion in it. So it was really great to see them finally wrestle each other in front of a cheering crowd. And again, it's good to see kind of proof of concept that this Evil House of Torture, whatever, does work in front of a cheering crowd. Like, the Japanese fans are into it, and it really comes to life in an environment where they are allowed to be booed and not just polite applause. So yeah, I enjoyed this match a lot. And then main event was Zack Sabre Jr. defeating David Finlay, 13 minutes 3 seconds with the jackknife pin. Now, we threw flowers at Ren versus Ishii, and rightly so, but this one was as good, maybe a bit better than that match. It was really tremendous. Like the speed and the technical precision, the execution in this match, they did some really great sequences. And I mean, for me, this has kind of solidified me doing a bit of a U-turn on David Finlay, because I assumed he was out the door. But now I've seen him having real sort of high-end top-level matches with guys like Juice Robinson, Will Ospreay, and now Zack Sabre Jr. And he's a guy who, to me, David Finlay, he's proved he can hang at the top table in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can plug him in with anyone, give him that tap on the shoulder, and he will give you the high-quality main event of the standard that you would expect from a New Japan Pro Wrestling main event. So I hope he sticks around. And I would love to see him sort of plugged into a feud with somewhat a Japanese wrestler, because it seems he's sort of mainly getting stuff against other Westerners at the moment, which I understand. But sort of moving forward, I would love to see more from him. And Zach, wow, I mean, he just looks so much more muscular than he did a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he is cutting promos, switching from English to Japanese almost flawlessly. He seems way more confident using Japanese. The fans absolutely adore him. He had the fans in the palm of his hand. You watch this match, Damon. You hear the post-match promo when he's doing his stuff in the ring. The fans adore this guy. And it's making me think, what is he missing for him to be IWGP champion material? Because he's packing on the size now. Wrestling quality is unquestionably, the right standard that we want from a person who would be worthy of holding that title. And now he's got that crowd connection as well. He's able to cut the promos in dual language. What do we need to see from Zach for us to say champion?
It's a great question. A lot of the guys that we talk about that they have earmarked for that level of the company, the telltale sign is them packing on some additional muscle, isn't it? Like Will and Kenny, and a lot of those guys that just need that little bump. They pardon the pun, but they just need a little more muscle, if you will. Now, I'm not saying anything wacky's going on, right? People can get in shape and people can put on extra pounds and all, but what's missing? I don't. You know what it is? And I was going to say the company getting behind him is what's missing. But even with that said, like, this is a guy who went through, and not pinfall wins, submission wins in that New Japan Cup, and went through, the Mount Rushmore at the time of New Japan. So I don't know what more could they do, right? I mean, he's already a threat to everybody, you know? I don't know if it's anything he's missing. Like, what would he be, at this point, what would he possibly be missing? Like, he's embracing the language, which is a decent deal. Work rate is never in question. Interviews are always entertaining.
Loyalty as well. The fact that he stuck with the company through the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely, and lived there. You know what? He just needs. You could give him the title. You could give him the title. It's just a matter of New Japan presenting him in that light. That's. I mean, I'm going to be being brutally honest. If you could come up with the one thing that he's missing, and I'm struggling with it, like, what is he missing? Nothing. Except, again, and he's changing that. He's changing his body to fit that mental dynamic. I don't think there's much of anything, dude. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's much of anything.
Yeah, so just seeing this Finlay match and the post-match stuff really changed my thinking on him, because I always thought, he is a top guy, but a challenger, not a champion. But after seeing this, I thought, you know what? I think he ticks all the boxes. I think he deserves a run. And not deserves like, sort of the gold watch kind of run. I think he's a guy who could take that ball and run with it and be a great champion for this company.
He hasn't had a singles title, right?
Correct. Which is insane when you think about it.
It is insane. Yeah. I mean, he's had the Rev Pro stuff and blah, 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 tag. Yeah, that's insane.
Intercontinental title would have been perfect for this.
Right. Here's my point. Okay, so let's fucking air it out now. You got nonsense with this fucking Karl Anderson never title work shoot bullshit. Like, who cares? Like, why is the never title this fucking toilet paper belt now? Like, it's like, and why is Zach? It's like head scratcher. But that's why. See, but that's why we have all these fucking toilet paper belts and titles. Like that Intercontinental title, man, that meant something. And I'm sorry, I'm crying over something that was, 2 years ago. But that's why that belt was important. Like, Zach could have easily held that title for a while. And now it's like we have the world title and all these fucking nonsense titles. And titles that don't have to be nonsense. Make them important. They're not important anymore. Is the U.S. title important, Joel?
Well, I would say the US title has sort of slid into that role that the IC title was fulfilling, which is a singles title for main event guys who are not in the IWGP title scene to feud over. So, I mean, I'm really excited for the Will Ospreay against Naito match. So, just more stuff like that. The more they're putting on matches like that, like I thought Ospreay versus Finlay was really good for that belt. Just it's all about the booking. Like, if they continue to book it and make it seem like a big deal, which I think they're doing now, to be fair, then I'll accept it. But it's just like we kind of just reshuffle things around. So the US belt is the new IC title.
Right.
The Never title is the new IC US title. So it's sort of the superfluous singles title that you put on ice and you don't see it for like 6 months at a time. And now it seems like the TV title is going to take the role of the Never title for, guys who normally wouldn't get a bit of shine, where you have these shorter, hard-hitting matches. So we're getting the same stuff, just with different badges on it, really.
Yes. That makes sense. I know that you've been hyped on the TV title tournament itself. What do you think of the TV title concept and the actual title?
Concept I love. The actual aesthetics of the title I don't love it, but I mean, who cares? The stuff like whether or not a title looks nice, that's something that people will argue about for like a week, and then everyone gets used to it and forgets about it. Like, no one talks about the IWGP World Title and the aesthetics of that anymore.
I woke up this morning and I was like, Cheryl, that title is still ugly. Everything we've been through, I just want to let you know that's still constant. Stinks. I get it. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I like the concept. Well, let's talk about this title then. So Dr. Gary says, is the English commentary delay hurting the free everywhere idea of the TV title? Assuming the point is to grow the global audience, the delay/spoiler situation seems counterintuitive. Do you think that's an issue?
I'm sure of the question. Too many. There were too many big words there.
All right. So basically,
I'm taking that as disrespect.
The gimmick of the title is that it's on free TV. Like, anyone can watch it. So, for example, the Ren versus Ishii match finished, and then very shortly that match was up on New Japan World for free. Anyone could watch it. I was sharing it on Twitter, and a lot of people who don't have subscriptions to New Japan World were able to watch it. So the idea is this is the title where you can have like, check out this amazing 30-minute match between X and Y. It's free. Anyone can watch it. So that, I think, that's what we're using as sort of little breadcrumbs to try and win back lapsed fans. So in theory, yeah, great. And I mean, I don't have a problem with watching it in Japanese. I don't really think that's a huge barrier. I don't think you necessarily need the wonderful commentary of Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton to understand this, the story of Ren and Ishii beating the shit out of each other. So, like, personally, I don't think it's a huge barrier to entry. I think if the match has got enough hype, then people can watch it for free and enjoy it and be excited about it. I didn't see anyone watching the link that was up on New Japan World, which was Japanese commentary, and saying, "Oh, well, this would have been better if we had English commentary." English commentary is a bonus, but I don't think it's a necessity. I don't think the lack of immediate English commentary on these matches are going to be an obstacle for it. And I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue going forward. I think going forward we will have immediate English commentary because it's likely to be defended at big shows.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if the draw will be great matches, right? If we're trying to get fans back, one, you could go the Noah style and say, okay, let's get a name that everybody recognizes, and everybody can two names everybody recognizes, and the idea of that match is good. Or your roster will work their ass off and have great matches and draw people in that way. And I think at the beginning, the people who watch New Japan, by and large, while they enjoy the English commentary, it's not a necessity, right? The people who are sticking around for this are not going to fall off because a great match just has Japanese commentary, right? Again, English helps for a Western audience. Sure, absolutely, no doubt. And the job that Chris and Kevin and Gino and Corino in the past and whoever's behind that mic, it helps, yes. But
Leap and Laddie Poffo.
Oh, remember that? Oh, the poet laureate. Yeah. Seriously, that was a moment.
The champion of the British.
Yeah. What happened to who was the other guy that they would bring in every once in a while when Kevin needed a break? He was from Canada. He did.
There's Mark Warzeka, who was really good. I remember enjoying his work.
Mark, but then there was another guy. He follows us. Fuck. I'm drawing a blank. I'm getting old. I'm in pain. I work with children.
Right. I know who you mean, and it's annoying me as well.
Right. All right, we'll get it in the middle of the show. Yeah, scroll through our followers. Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, so 6,000.
Eugene Nagata.
Oh, that's
Shingo.
really going to annoy me.
El Phantasma.
Okay, well, let me throw a question at you while I try and find it. So, Shrubby Shruby says, assuming the TV title final is Zack versus Narita, do you see more value in putting the title on Ren straight away or having him chase for a little while?
I mean, let's go for it. You know what I mean? Let's go for it.
Mavs Gillis.
Mavs. That's him. Sorry, Mavs. No disrespect. No disrespect intended. We're just old and, I have no problem giving him a belt. Let's do it. What the fuck? I'm fine with it. Let's give him the belt. Let's make it. Let's have some fun.
Agreed. What else? Okay, so sort of big picture question. Daryl says, you're New Japan and your young roster includes Ren, Uemura, Tsuji, Shota, Coughlin, Connors, etc.
Okay.
At what point do you graduate Goto, Ishii, Yujiro, Fale to dad status and retire Nagata, Tenzan, Tiger Mask, etc.? And why Gedo, 53, and Jado, 54, still better workers than so many? I mean, it does feel like there is a big change coming. There's like a wave coming. When we get those guys, those guys mentioned, so we've got Ren back, when Uemura's back, and Shota, and Tsuji, and Coughlin, Connors, all those guys mentioned, it does feel like things are going to change. There's going to be a sea change in New Japan, and I think it's going to have a big shockwave throughout the product.
Yeah, I mean, that's right around the corner. I mean, all that is right around the corner, and it's good because it's fresh and it's new, and and here's what that does. And while it's somewhat risky, it has to happen. Like, you have to bring in new, like, the top Okada, or when Okada and Tanahashi and even Goto and Yuji Nagata was kind of on a downward trend, like that time period, that was a decent amount of time ago, right? Like, you have to keep freshness, and you have to keep building new audiences with people that can relate to those particular characters. And it's kind of like music, where like a band 15 years ago might have been, everyone's favorite, but now, they get older and the kids are coming along and like, well, no, that's old music. I like this now. And while it's depressing to be the one that's being the shit that you like is being pushed aside, that's the way the world fucking works, pro wrestling included. So yeah, I mean, that's happening, and I don't think it's a bad thing. And yes, there are going to be times when guys that look at Ishii. Look at Ishii right now. I think Ishii is
Goto and Ishii. They've already started that process. Haven't they?
I mean, those specifically those two guys are already in that mode. Tiger Mask as well. I mean, look. When was the last time you saw?
Sorry. Tiger Mask was holding a New Japan title not too long ago with the Flying Tigers and Robbie Eagles.
Right, that's true too. Yeah. But okay. When was the last time you saw Tiger Mask?
To be fair, he could have wrestled on the show I watched today, and I forgot about it.
Good point. Good, but there you go. I think that transition is where we haven't jumped into the deep end of the pool yet, and the ones that are shocking, you'd be like, oh my god, this guy is now in dad status. But it's happening, and it's happening right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, today's show, fourth match, Alex Zane, Tiger Mask, David Finlay defeated the team of Taka Michinoku, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. So there you go. Tiger Mask, a big part of this New Japan roster, playing a crucial role right now.
My bad. The disrespect of Tiger Mask.
Right. Let's talk about the night before Rumble on 44th Street, a Halloween special. So This was at the Palladium Times Square. It was a Mystery Vortex show, Damon. Now, you watched this one. So... before we actually get into talking about the matches of the show itself, Multiverse A says, first, I hope everything is the best it can be for Damon. Second, what were your thoughts on the production of the NYC shows? Were there improvements over previous US shows, or are there still areas they need to get better at? And Dr. Poodle Papa says, would you rather wait 2 weeks for a good show to show up on demand, or pay $21 to watch a house show with big names, trash production values, and poor audio mixing live? So what did you think of the actual production of these shows?
Again, people, I do a New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast along with the great Joel. It looked minor league, right? It just
Agreed.
it looked like a show at a fucking club. You know what I mean?
Yes, it did. It looked really bad.
It did.
And it wasn't anything about the production. It wasn't great. I mean, it did not have the crisp professional camera work that we're used to. No. But yeah, it did look like these huge stars, Okada, Jay White, were wrestling in a nightclub.
Right. It really did.
Being filmed by amateurs.
But yeah, on iPhones.
Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but your singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.
Next time someone needs to send you money, tell them to use Zelle. With Zelle, the money goes straight into your bank account, and it typically only takes minutes between enrolled users. And even if the sender uses a different U.S. bank, it still works. Plus, Zelle is already in over 1,600 banking apps, so you probably won't have to download another one. By the way, make sure the sender has your correct U.S. mobile number or email address, so the money goes to the right place. Look for Zelle in your banking app today.
But I was the stream worked. The stream didn't die, so I could watch the whole thing. So yeah. That's a plus, right?
Well, you're in New York. I mean, if you can't transmit a signal in New York, although I have heard of trouble before. Remember that Hammerstein show that couldn't get off the fucking ground? Yeah, just I don't know. Aesthetically, I was kind of like, oh. And here's the thing too. Like, I love the idea of like, oh, we're in New York City, the fucking Big Apple, and blah, blah, blah. That could have been in a fucking warehouse in Iowa. You know what I mean? Like, who would know? Unless you're wrestling in Times Square, who gives a fuck? Yeah, I mean, look, it was what it was. And here's the thing, too. Both these shows, man, did they bring in the Northeast indie talent? Holy shit. I was like, okay, there are New Japan Pro wrestlers on this show, but there are also I know Devon Storm. We used to wrestle him all the time. And, when he was working with Dennis and all the New Jersey independents. So I was like, fucking Devon Storm. Fantastic. I was at some kind of graduation party. Like he was like a physical therapist or something. That's what he wanted to be. And he graduated, and I was at his party.
Was he going by the Crowbar name at that point, or was it?
No. He was making a name on the indies. Like he would wrestle guys who, he would wrestle like Rocco Rock or Sabu, or he would wrestle, like he was the independent guy that people trusted, and then he would do jobs for like WWF TV. So he was like a guy that people trusted and could work, and then I think did he start at ECW first? He might have, like the tail end of ECW, and then WCW signed him because they were signing everybody. But yeah, we've wrestled him for years on Independence. He's a good guy, very good guy. But I was just like, oh, holy shit, okay, he's there. But they brought in a lot of guys. Anybody who could take a train, like Wheeler Yuta, like he lives in Philly. He's going to take the fucking Northeast Express right up the fucking Penn Station. Yeah, great. And then there were other indie guys that were, New Jersey indie guys that were in and around there. What was it?
Andrew says, are you buying Smiley stocks?
I'm not. No stonks for me. No. But who was it? But the Spanish announce team. Yeah, that's right. They're local in the area. So, whatever. Who cares? Smiley. What was it? Mighty Monte. I don't know.
Yeah. So all the big names from House of Glory.
Yeah.
House of Glory, New Japan Supercard that we've been demanding.
Right. So that kind of was like, I don't know. I had people offer me tickets and like just everything that was going on. I just can't do it. I was like, I appreciate it, but I just can't get there. I mean, look, there were New Japan big names there, but there were also this feeling of, boy, they really filled out this fucking card with non-New Japan people. And I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
It was fun. It was a fun show. I mean, as far as a Mystery Vortex show goes, I think this is about what I was expecting. Had some fun moments. I mean, I like their little vignette with Forever Hooligans. I don't know if that was supposed to be like Twin Peaks style, but that was...
where he's in therapy?
You know? Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The goal! Yay! Okay, 2-0. Okay, I can breathe now. Oh, Reece Nelson, nice. I thought it was a pretty fun show. I thought the Miro Suzuki-Tracy Williams match was better than I expected it to be. I thought Suzuki gave him quite a lot there. I did not enjoy the Shingo against Jake something. That was not a brilliant match. But, I mean, the main event was fun, wasn't it? That sort of the 12-man elimination matches with some interesting names in there. Yo sticking out a sore thumb. Like when they were doing that lineup, you're like, Okada, yes. John Moxley, yes. Eddie Kingston, yes. Amazing Red, yes. Homicide, yeah. Yo, what? Excuse me.
Excuse me. I know. I'll be honest. I was a little bit surprised seeing Juice. It's just with everything that's going back and forth with him being New Japan, him signing with ECW, Jesus Christ, with AEW, and I don't know. I just thought that was odd, to say the least. I just didn't know where he was fitting in, but obviously fitting in on a show in the US is right up his alley.
Well, let's touch on that then. So Vase Collector says, with Juice signing to AEW, can you guys describe your emotions around the idea of Lifeblood 2.0? Have you mentioned it to your therapists or loved ones? So for those who don't know, so this was a faction that appeared in ROH, I think it was 2019. So there was Juice, Bandido, Finley, Mark Haskins, Tracy Williams, and I think Tenille Dashwood was their promo person. So I looked them up on the Pro Wrestling Wiki because I couldn't remember what they actually did as a unit. So this is the entry from the Pro Wrestling Wiki. Lifeblood debuted as early as January 12th, 2019 during the ROH TV tapings, defeating the team of Dalton Castle, Flip Gordon, Jay Lethal, Jeff Cobb, and Jonathan Gresham. That's it. That's all the information that we have on Lifeblood. That was the subtotal of their achievements. So,
isn't it amazing how people remembered shit like that? Like, I would never remember that, but yet there's somebody that's like, oh, I've been waiting 7 years for a bloodline joke. Able to fucking cash in.
Lifeblood, David. Get
Lifeblood? What did I say? Who cares? Lifeblood. Shut up.
How are you feeling about Juice signing with AEW? I mean, it's not a surprise. I think that's a better fit for him, given his relationship status and where he lives and his sort of dissatisfaction with going over to New Japan and doing clap crowds and whatnot. I'm sad to see him go. I mean, I'm sure he will still continue to work for New Japan. I mean, they'll get him on for strong and US shows and stuff, but I wouldn't sort of rule out him sort of appearing at the odd show in Japan, maybe. But it's a shame because I was quite keen on the rock hard Juice Robinson gimmick. So yeah, I don't. Do I think it's going to work out from AEW? I can't see him being like AEW champion or anything. I worry he will get lost in the shuffle there. But yeah, I'm sad to see him not work in New Japan as often as I would like.
Yeah.
Oh, he scored again.
Well, there you go. 3 up. All right. Look at you. You're so proud. You pumping your chest. Cannons going off. What? Top of the league, huh? Look.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled for you. Juice. Look. I don't think there's any doubt that life is much easier for Juice now with his partner in the same company, able to travel together, and come on. Of course he's going to go to AEW. Why wouldn't he? TV, steady schedule, stay in the States. Yeah. What that means for New Japan, again, I think is exactly what we're saying. He'll work these house show, US shows, but, tag matches and shit like that. In AEW, I think he could be decent. Like, I think if they did something with him, I think he could do well. I do. And even if he's just, I don't know if he can or he can't. Like, can he still use Bullet Club stuff? Like, there's no Bullet Club in, there's no mention of Bullet Club in AEW, is there? I don't think there is.
No, I don't think that's a good question, actually, because after he said he wasn't affiliated with New Japan anymore, I think that very same day he was making an appearance on, I think it was Dynamite, where he was, had all the New Japan and Bullet Club stuff on his entrance. So it'll be interesting to sort of watch that going forward if that disappears.
Right. I mean, I think that is what people should be looking at. Like, if he shows up with no Bullet Club gear, I mean, that's New Japan basically saying, you ain't fucking doing that. You don't own that. We do. So that's going to be the key. And to me, until he gets that email saying, please don't use Bullet Club stuff anymore, there is still a relationship. How about that? Like, the day he comes out without it is the day that New Japan Pro Wrestling connection is I don't want to say done, but used very sparingly. So that's going to be the key.
All right, let's move on to Rumble on 44th Street, which was Friday, October 28th at the Palladium. 982 sellouts. So the first match was House of Torture making their US debut. So Sho and Yujiro defeating the team of Yo and Rocky Romero. So I think the most notable thing about this was, of course, Lio Rush making a surprise appearance there. And it looks like he and Yo are going to be teaming up for Super Junior Tag League. So how are you feeling about Lio Rush in New Japan and the Lio team up?
I'm cool with it. Like I said, I think he is spectacular. I like the gimmick, the moth thing. I think if given the opportunity, he usually shines. The problem is that, just reliability. Like, how much are you going to invest in Lio Rush if, 2 months later he's, needs to take time off? That's the biggest challenge I have with him, is the fact that, if you're going to invest something in him, which I have no problem with, there needs to be certainty of a commitment from him. And I don't know what other. It doesn't feel like he has a ton of other options. I don't want to say he's burned bridges, certainly not. But again, it is that reliability factor. Are you in or you out? And if he's in, I'm all in. If he's out, what are you going to do? You don't want to invest too much in that. You've got another fucking Karl Anderson situation. But I like him, and I'm totally cool with him making appearances and being in the mix. Just we need to make sure that the commitment is there.
Also, we had Alex Coughlin making a return here, cutting a really weird, insane promo and declaring that he's returning and he's going to be taking part in World Tag League. So how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm excited to see him getting a chance in Japan and intrigued to see who he's going to be teaming up with. I think he's the kind of guy who I could see getting over really well with the Japanese fans.
Yeah?
Oh, just got a brilliant goal.
4?
Oh, no, it's 4, but it's a player that I don't like who's done it.
Okay, listen, you got 4. Who do you care? What do you care who scores? Do you care who scores?
Alex Coughlin.
Alex Coughlin.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, there's a player called Thomas Partey who there were some really horrible rape allegations against him.
Oh,
so
God.
It's hard for me. I can't cheer for anything that he does in good conscience anymore. So, yeah, sorry to bring the vibe of the show down. Alex Coughlin, how excited are you about Alex Coughlin? Who do you think he's going to team with, Damon?
Oh, I was going to do a terrible. Guess. All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the joke. Okay, I'm going to do the bit, and just let it sit there and stink up the joint. You ready? Well, he's the Android, so he'll probably team up with a fucking iPhone or something.
No, I like that. That's a good joke. That's sort of tapping into my dad's sense of humour. So I'll give you that one.
Stunk. Oh, it was in my head, and it was like right in the back of my throat, ready to come out. And I was like, "You don't do this. don't say this. Terrible." What a shitbag I am. Who does he tag with? How about who would he tag with? You think it would be somebody from? No. He's going to be the Hinare to Tanahashi. You know what I mean? Like he's going to tag with somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say Tanahashi actually.
Yeah, maybe either Tanahashi or somebody of that ilk, just to be the guy to lie down. So Tanahashi's not a bad one.
What else we got here? So we had a New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team title match where we had the Motor City Machine Guns defeating Aussie Open and Kevin Knight at the DKC. So a surprise title change there. I thought this was a good match. It was fun. And, you know, with these two really experienced, well-decorated tag teams, Machine Guns and Aussie Open, I thought Kevin Knight really came out of this with stock rising. You know, I've been talking about how great he is for a very long time and like a real blue-chip prospect there. But for him to shine so much in a match with such big established names in, I thought was no small feat there. So let's throw some flowers at Kevin Knight and also talk about what's going on now with these titles. So Daniel says, with Aussie Open dropping the titles, do you think they win World Tag League and have a rematch with FDR at Wrestle Kingdom? So, how did you enjoy this strong openweight tag team title match?
I liked it, but I really hate when titles change in like three-way dance type matches. I'm never a fan of it, but it does feel like it does open up Aussie Open. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they challenge FTR in Osaka? Am I it?
No, they don't. So for this Osaka show, we have, I think both teams are announced to have matches, but not against each other.
Okay. Well, maybe we're holding off on it, right? Maybe we're setting something up in Osaka. Who knows? It felt like that was going to happen. Okay. But it does feel like we're trying to take Aussie Open to a new level, right? And having those titles might not be the best move. I guess the only other thing that I'm a little bit like on is the fact that I would prefer these titles being on tag teams that are up and coming, right? Let's develop our own stars as opposed to giving it to a tag team who has been around the block a few times. If you gave it to DKC and Kevin Knight, I would have been probably happier, just because we're doing our best to put over our talent. But it was a good match. I like the match. Sometimes they get a little too much going on, but yeah, I like the match. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of titles being changed in three ways and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, you raise a good point. It will be interesting to see who Motor City Machine Guns pass it on to. If they're just sort of trading it with Aussie Open, then I think... But if they are using it to put over a young, up-and-coming tag team on New Japan Strong, then, yeah, I'll reserve judgment on that. So we'll wait and see where that one goes. We had a New Japan Strong Openweight title match with Fred Rosser, the champion, successfully defending against Jonathan Gresham. So I thought this was a good match. It was interesting sort of styles clash with the sort of power, the hard hitting and elbows and forearms of Fred Rosser against the sort of technical submission-based stuff of Jonathan Gresham. But it had a bit of a weird ending with those sort of goofy-looking clubbing back and forth forearms of Fred Rosser leading into the Emerald Flosion finish. So when that finished, I was just like, what? Was that it? So it kind of ended a bit flatly, didn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I like Jonathan Gresham a lot. I don't know. I think height is his only drawback. Like, he's just, but that's kind of part of his gimmick, in the sense of, I don't want to say he's the short equivalent of Zack Sabre Jr., but I like him. I like him a lot. I don't know. I feel like he's one of those guys that, and I hate saying deserve, but I feel like he's one of those guys that I don't know. You could do a lot more with him, I would think. But he's just one of those guys that kind of seem to float around a lot. And I don't know what is going on in his life to not be locked down to a company, but I like him. I like him a lot.
So we had a 6-man tag team match. Homicide, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta defeating Team Filthy, Durant Nelson, Royce Isaacs, and Tom Lawler. Okay, well, there's my answer then. I think Motor City Machine Guns should be dropping those titles to West Coast Wrecking Crew at some point. But this match, I don't have a huge amount to say. But Shota Umino, where do you stand on him right now? Are you seeing a guy who you think is ready to be plugged back into the main roster and set for superstardom?
I do. And again, I might be more hyped for Ren Narita right now, just because of what we saw. But I think if you put him in a singles match and let him shine, he more than fine. He's got everything, I think. I mean, and let's put it this way: he is good in everything, and he's great in presence. And I think there's still more ring stuff that needs to be ironed out. But yeah, I think to me, we could pop him in and not lose, be very comfortable having him in a prominent spot in a year or two. Absolutely.
Forgive me, I forget who it was who said this, but someone on our Discord had a really good idea of having Shota Umino be the guy who is just sort of handed these amazing opportunities like gift wrapped on a silver platter, but Ren has got to be the guy who's got to fight and scrap for everything and sort of building up a sort of long-term rivalry between the pair of them based on their treatment like that. So that would be quite a cool idea, I think.
Yeah.
We also had a singles match with Minoru Suzuki defeating Clark Connors. Clark Connors being called by none other than Ken Shamrock, so sort of tapping into the pancrase law between Shamrock and Suzuki. Now, I kind of take the piss out of these Suzuki matches a bit because he does tend to do these US tours and he'll pop up and have the same match everywhere where he's pulling funny faces and doing chops and got a star prior driver and here we go, where's my money? But this way exceeded my expectations. I thought this was great, like my favourite match of the weekend. And I thought Clark looked tremendous here, even in defeat. I just think there's a real sort of energy and passion that he brings, and he showed that same fire when he got his opportunity at Forbidden Door, that just having him as this kind of underdog, fiery babyface really brings out the best of him. And there were a couple of moments where he had like a counters and transitions and answers for the Suzuki stuff that I thought, oh, he's going to get him here. But he did manage it in the end. But I just thought it's a real tremendous performance by Clark Connors here. And Suzuki gave him a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this match, it might be my favorite of the weekend. It might very well be. And here's the weird thing, too. Don't you think that it's easy to hand wave the idea of Ken Shamrock being there? And like, I think that added to the match, one. And I think, two, it added to Clark Connors being a legitimate opponent, right? It did give that little special and many times things where you bring out the legend in a corner doesn't necessarily pan out. I thought they did it right. I really liked the idea of that and giving Clark Connors a little bit of a rub with Ken Shamrock. Like I did enjoy that, and I thought the match was good. Yeah, you're right. Suzuki does that formulatic U.S. match. He's got that down to a science. But this was a little different, a little bit more exciting. And I think, like I said, I think the Ken Shamrock thing, in this case, helped a lot with Clark being viewed as a legitimate opponent.
Then we had the SWA Undisputed World Women's title match with Mayu Iwatani defeating Kylie King. I'd forgotten that I actually saw Mayu Iwatani wrestling at MSG in that Supercard of Honor show against who was it? Kelly Klein. Jesus, what a match that was. So I've got some crib notes here from Welke, our Stardom correspondent. So this title is the Stardom World Alliance. That's the acronym. So it was created as a collective title from several promotions during Stardom's European tour years ago. There was a stipulation about who the champion could defend against, but it was changed very quickly to simply the challenger needs to have a different nationality than the champion. So, for example, a Japanese person cannot defend against a Japanese person. So that's what sets the title apart in Stardom. So During the pandemic, the champion was Syuri, who is half Filipino, so the stipulation was changed that she's defending as a Filipino, not Japanese, so the title did not have to go fully dormant. So that stipulation was used before Bushiroad purchase as the simplest way to give any random foreigner a title shot, basically, or was used for a foreigner to be pushed, like a Tony Storm or Viper or B. Priestley or Jamie Hayter, who all held the title. So there we go. That was the SWA title match. So yeah,
I kind of like that.
Thank you, welcome. We appreciate that.
I think that's a creative way to, kind of force your hand into having different opponents. I like that a lot. I like that concept. Interesting. All right, good job.
And then we had the New Japan King of Pro Wrestling title, New York City Street Fight. So Shingo Takagi defeated El Phantasmo in 20 minutes, 59 seconds. Not my favourite kind of match, these plot matches. I thought it had its moments. There were some cool spots, some spectacular spots, but just the pacing felt a bit off. It felt like they were kind of building to a crescendo, but then it just kept going and going and going, and kind of missed that sweet spot where I thought it had naturally built up to be an exciting climax, and it just went on a bit too long for my taste. I just don't like these kind of matches, really.
I've got to be honest with you. I was thrilled for this. A little disappointing, considering who was in the ring. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him either. I think the idea of what that street fight could be, and again, I hate to go back to old style wrestling, but I think a street fight could be a lot more entertaining if it was constructed in an old, and again, I hate to use like an old Mid-South UWF Memphis style, get in the ring, street clothes, taped fists, and let's go, as opposed to what many people might consider like hit me with objects. You know what I mean? So it was fine. I mean, it's not like a bad taste in my mouth, but it was just kind of like, this is a perfect example of a match where the stipulations hurt the what might be the quality of the match on paper.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been a last man standing match. I'll be thankful for small mercies. At the very least, I think it sort of solidified ELP as a serious heavyweight, if that was not already the case in your mind. So that was that. The main event was a special tag match with Jay White and Juice Robinson defeating Kazuchika Okada and Eddie Kingston. So Jay pinned Eddie after 20 minutes with the Blade Runner. So, excuse me, got a very dry throat. My big takeaway from this match was Eddie Kingston has been a guy it's taken me a while to come round on him. I've been a bit cooler on him than most, but now I think I get him. And just the strength of his promos and this sort of Kings Road tribute style that he's doing. I came away from this thinking I really want to see a Jay White Eddie Kingston singles match. And I don't necessarily know or care which promotion. I just think their chemistry that they had together with sort of Jay White being the sort of slithery, cowardly guy who, it's almost like he would rather be wrestling with Okada than, taking the big shots from Eddie Kingston. I thought they told that story really well in the ring. And yeah, I came away with this really wanting to see that as a singles match.
I like Eddie Kingston. I know that I've mentioned it before. Like, he's been around this area for a long time and seen him in many promotions, Chikara and probably CZW. I think I've seen him in other independents. What is New Japan's obsession with using him? And what is New Japan's, not only him, but it's like him, all those North Jersey, New York, Staten Island, Homicide, and who else who was on the show? The tag team, I just fucking forgot. SATs, I forget. They really do like using that local talent with these shows to save money. Oh fuck. I thought the match was fine. I don't know. Did you think? I don't want to say that. What do I want to say? This felt like, to me, 4 guys that are going to give you a paint by numbers, we're all stars tag team match. In a sense of, I know that the idea of, Okada and Jay White in the same ring, and even now Eddie Kingston and possibly Jay White in the same ring, is what we're trying to do. I guess here's my point. Are we using Eddie Kingston as a guy to put over our talent, or are we using him as a guy who is that New Japan has plans for? Because he's on what feels like a ton of East Coast and even not even East Coast. Like, he's everywhere on these New Japan US shows. Like, he's not going to leave AEW. I mean, he's got a sweet gig there. But like
what are New Japan getting out of it? Like, I would like to see him maybe putting over a young up-and-comer from the New Japan full-time roster.
I would love it too, but I don't think you're going to see that. I don't know. I just think I think this show was weird. These two shows were weird. Like, they were New Japan shows, but be honest, did that feel? Did those shows feel like a New Japan show?
No.
It really didn't. It didn't. I don't know. It just, and again, every time I see Eddie Kingston on top, or I see Homicide, or I see, other people that they'll just bring in, because I know they're bringing them in, and they're good wrestlers, but they're bringing them in because they could save money. I don't know. They just don't feel like fucking New Japan shows. They really don't. They feel like good independent pro wrestling shows. I don't know. There's something about it that sticks in my craw, and I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, I don't know. I felt somewhat disappointed in the main event. I really did. I don't know why. I do know why, but I don't want to say. I'll say I don't give a fuck. It just felt like these were guys that were going to give you the spots and give you shit that enough to what am I trying to say, Joel? Joel, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that this felt like
they phoned it in, basically. This was a bunch of half of them were superstars wrestling in a 3-digit crowd in
right.
What looked like a nightclub, and they looked like they couldn't really be bothered.
Thank you. Thank you. Well done. I was at a loss for words. Well done. I agree.
How about anything more on that?
No.
You want to bury them a bit more?
Did I bury it? I don't know. I look.
It's fine. I think that was fair. That was accurate, and I agree with you. I did actually finish the main event. I went back to watch it about an hour before we recorded, and just okay.
Right.
I was trying to find an angle. My angle was I'd like to see Jay White versus Eddie Kingston. I have nothing nice to say about the match itself.
Right. Exactly. Sometimes when you do countless shows and you get like matches like this, like, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to come give you something, but I'm trying to speak from my heart and say this is what I took away from this. That's what I took away from it. So there you go.
5-0. Odegaard's just scored.
Wow.
Great match, great podcast. Excellent. Daniel says, after the match with Suzuki, how does the idea of Connors in Suzuki-gun sound?
I want to be surprised if we don't see a lot of Suzuki-gun in the near future. I mean, if everything that we talk about, I think in the concept of it might still be around for a little bit, but you got to figure Suzuki's going bye-bye in the next year or two, right? Is that something that we...
as long as he can still pull funny faces and exchange chops, he is going to be going for it as long as he bloody well likes, my friend.
That's a good point. If anybody's, if there are promoters willing to write a check, he'll stick around. I don't know. I just don't feel that they'll be around much longer. And that's not a pastrami sandwich. That's just me speculating. But between Suzuki and Zach and what could be for in the future for Zach, and you would think Kanemaru might be, kind of looking to ride off into the sunset, possibly. Taichi doing, I don't know. I just think that might be the case. 2 years, you might.
Yeah, it's like Suzuki going in name only at this point.
Correct.
There's not really much Suzuki about it at all.
No, it really doesn't feel like it at all. And that's
Suzuki.
And that's fine.
I mean, actually, now you mention, he feels like weirdly disconnected from them as a unit, doesn't he? Like, when I think of Suzuki, I think him doing these like tours of US Indies. I don't think about him as part of the faction with guys like Doki and Zach and Taichi and Kanemaru and the like. I
will give him credit though. Like, it's quite like you're getting singles matches from him. It's not you're not getting a lot of tags. Every once in a while, he'll tag with like I don't know, Lance Archer here or whatever. But when he comes over, it's usually in a singles match. So I will give him credit for that. Like no matter what you think of the matches themselves, like he's going out there and doing it. So it's not like he's taking a back seat in a tag match or But
right, because if you're in a tag match, you can sort of share out the proportion of funny faces, so you don't have to strain your facial muscles doing all the funny faces yourself.
Exactly. You know how exhausting it is constantly coming up with funny faces, Joel? It's not easy. He's a pro.
There was a great bit in the match where there were some really annoying people in the crowd, and someone was chanting something. He chanted like "you fucked up" or something. Then Suzuki just sort of turned his head, looked really disapproving, and then just sort of shushed him. It was so good. That really tapped into my sort of teacher spirit there. That's exactly what I would do. One of my kids talks out of turn. I just sort of look at them, let it hang in the air for a bit, and then just be like, "Shh, quiet."
Good stuff. Yeah.
All right, let's preview this show we have at Edion Arena. I'm looking forward to this one. So this is Saturday, November 5th at the Osaka Prefecture Gym. So it's not a cheering event, but, the Osaka crowd don't really give a fuck at this point. So I'm sure there'll be some noise. So we have a IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match with Bushi and Titan challenging TJP and Francesco Akira. Do you think they're going to switch the titles up here?
No, but what a fucking match that's going to be. Right? I think that.
I think they've done a really good job making the junior tag division feel a lot fresher now. We're first of all having TJP and Akira having this reign, and now also putting Titan and Bushi in there. I think this would be a really good match. I'm looking forward to this.
Yep, I think that match on paper sounds delicious. Yep, I think short sprint, perfect. I'm excited for this one.
Okay, these matches are in no particular order. The card has not been finalised yet, so I'm assuming this will be the main event. IWGP US Heavyweight Championship match with champion Will Ospreay third defence against the challenger Tetsuya Naito. So this is an interesting one because it puts the loser in a sort of weird spot for as much as what are they going to be doing at Wrestle Kingdom. So I think Ospreay's going to retain, and I'm still sort of holding hope that we might get Ospreay against Kenneth Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. I thought that would be a lot of fun. But it would leave me sort of scratching my head thinking what Naito's going to be up to. But either way, I mean, I think the match is going to be great. I thought it was a brilliant match they had at the G1 Climax semi-finals. And again, I just still find it really strange that they are, burning this match within half a year when I thought it was one of the money matches they were building up to. But it's going to be really good anyway. And I think Ospreay's probably going to retain.
I think so too. And again, keep in mind, don't worry about Naito. He'll just show up in the ring and challenge somebody. That's how New Japan works. 3-way for the heavyweight title. I think in this day and age, like the idea of them holding on to something, I think they're a little gun shy. Like I feel like they are going to, if they can get it, in a building of reasonable size and a show of reasonable stature, then they're going to go for it. If Will does win, I think that brings the idea and the concept of Will and Kenny at the Dome a little bit closer to reality. So if you're rooting for that, then you're rooting for Will at this point to win this match. Naito, I mean, look, he's going to land on his feet somehow. I just hope it's not just shoehorning him into some fucking title picture. I mean, we're in November here, kids. That's times. The clock is running on what we're going to do with Naito at this point. I don't know what you do with him. I don't know where he lands. Don't know. That is a great question. Unless again somebody else is coming in, like that would be an ideal scenario. Somebody else is coming in that they have in their pocket for a big singles match with him. Other than that, like what do you do with him? What are you going to do with him? I have no idea. None. I mean, there are more creative people listening to this show than me, but I don't know what the fuck you do with him. You know, if he loses, you would think they have somebody in their pocket.
I really hope there is something planned because have we scored a sixth, or has that been ruled out? So I think, I hate to say this, but I do wonder how many Wrestle Kingdoms we've got left in a healthy Tetsuya Naito. So I wouldn't want to be squandering them. But anyway, we'll wait and see.
I'll say zero because he's not healthy, right?
Well, I say healthy with doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the Never Openweight Championship match, which at the moment is still listed as the Machine Gun, Karl Anderson, defending against the challenger, Hikuleo. David, I can't be bothered to talk about this anymore. It's boring. I don't want to give it the oxygen of publicity because I've got zero interest in the angle or in seeing Karl Anderson wrestling for New Japan anymore after what he shat out against Tanahashi. But I will say in New Japan's credit, that they have plugged in a vastly superior wrestler as a backup in case Karl Anderson doesn't show up. So I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't show up, so we do get treated to this much improved singles match, which would be Hikuleo against Yujiro Takahashi. So let's go Yujiro. Any thoughts from you about this? You're interested in it? How you think it's going to play out?
Oh boy, I'm waiting 2 weeks for this. I don't know who in New Japan needs to hear this. And I'm sure it'll get filtered down to that person who is going to make decisions. Maybe, maybe not. What is the advantage and what is the gain for New Japan even remotely giving the okay or the thought of an okay on this particular angle? Karl Anderson is absolutely 100% irrelevant to anyone watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. I need to be very clear on that. He is a zero factor in moving the needle. Right? So you give this guy this title, and this might be something that was agreed upon before, maybe, probably. Who knows? Where he's getting signed and he's going to show up on WWE TV and all of that while still holding the title. Just so we're going to, the idea is to do this angle and continue to use him, or we're going to fly him in to come in and force him to defend this title. So if it's an angle that everybody is in on, no one cares. Trust me, no one cares. Okay? If it's not an angle, or part of it is not an angle, or there's threads of it not being an angle, just strip him of the fucking title and let's just be done with this. Honestly, he's not worth the airfare that you're spending to bring him over. Not.
No, I will defend them in as much as I think what they're doing at the moment is better than just stripping him. I think at least what they're doing at the moment is, giving Hikuleo some shine. What I object to is them putting the belt on him in the first place. Because he stinks.
Absolutely. Like what? Like all you're doing is devaluing your title again, giving it to a guy who that no one cares about. No one fucking cares.
Yeah, no one likes this. No one has said, "Oh, this is good. I'm excited for this."
Right. No one's buying a ticket to see Karl Anderson. This is a guy who, quite honestly, has lived off of that fucking G1 run. And how long ago was that? It's just
a decade.
It's unbelievable. Like, again, so either side of the coin, if they're working this brother, no one cares. If it's not, just strip him of the fucking title. Who cares? Like, and here's the thing too. You said, all right, we're putting more shine on Hikuleo. Are we? How is this helping him? Like, he's going to win the title. Fine, give him the title. But yeah, he's not worth the airfare that you're spending to bring him over. And the fact that there is even remotely an effort to make people care about this is preposterous at this point. You have so much talent on that roster. That you can't give that never title to anyone. And now, let alone have to go through this dumb work shoot fucking angle thing that's honestly no one could give a flying fuck about. Come on, guys. Wake the fuck up. What are we doing? Every once in a while you get these glimmers of hope, and then you get this shit that's like, what are we doing with this? We just, I don't know. We just feel Mickey Mouse with this angle. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. It's going to end in a couple days, right? In a couple days, we're going to laugh about this, and that's going to be that. So, fuck that.
Well, what I think is most likely going to happen is Karl Anderson's not going to show up, and they'll do something with Hikuleo standing in the ring and waiting and saying, okay, you got 10 seconds to make it out here, and he doesn't come out, and they say, okay, Karl Anderson is stripped of the title, and then Yujiro will come out, so they'll say, okay, we're going to have a match for the vacant title here. Hikuleo gets Yujiro. Hikuleo can squash Yujiro, absolutely batter him 2 minutes. Then maybe we'll get a little video package sent in from Karl saying, if you want the real title, you're going to have to face it at Wrestle Kingdom, blah, blah, blah. And then we do Hikuleo and Karl.
Do you really think they're going to fly him in for Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, fuck me. Really?
Look, there's got to be a piss break somewhere. It's a one-night show. We're not doing 2 nights again.
Again, I don't... You're flying
the guy in. People need to pee, David.
What? People need to pee? I know. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Fly us in. Fly me and Joel in, okay? And
we'll do a grappling exhibition for 10 minutes.
Yes, for 10 minutes we'll do a grappling exhibition.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And I promise you we'll put in more effort than Karl Anderson in the ring. I promise you. We might die trying, but we will give you the effort worthy of a Wrestle Kingdom appearance. How about that? Fucking unbelievable. I can't. I'm going to say no just because I need something to live for. I can't. I'm just going to say
after
no.
The week you've had, you can't face Karl Anderson having another singles match in New Japan. That would be the last straw. That
would be the last straw. The 2 weeks that I've had have been so awful that if I'm on thin ice here, kids. If I have Karl Anderson showing up at the Dome, we might need to find a new host.
Damon on his knees praying for Yujiro to come out.
You have no idea. No idea.
All right. We also have the incredible tag match. So it's going to be some kind of combination of... I don't know if these are the actual teams. I think it might be Wato and Ishimori against Despi and Hiromu. I don't know if that's confirmed as the two teams, but just like, a little preview match here for the four-way. Wrestle Kingdom, nothing really to say about that. We will have our semi-finals for the TV tournament. So I'm just going to say what they are because I think we need to preview them. So it will be Red Narrator against Sanada and Zack Sabre Jr. against Evil. So, when these brackets first came out, I did say I think the play might be Ren versus Evil at Wrestle Kingdom in the tournament finals, where Ren could be the guy to, really bait Evil into bringing back LIJ, brawling Evil. They get all the House of Torture shenanigans and Dick Togo out of the way, and then the last 5 minutes, Evil and Ren could just hit each other really hard, and then Ren goes over and everyone's happy. But also, I could see Ren versus Zack being a really good fight as well, because obviously the Shibata connection there, that will be very interesting. But I'm kind of leaning towards Ren versus Evil, but they're going to troll us and do Sanada versus Evil for the final, aren't they?
You know what? Yeah, they're going to do Sanada Evil. You think Sanada's losing to Ren?
When you say it like that, I mean, I know Ren's beaten Ishii and he's beaten Yano, but beating Sanada, I know people don't really think a lot of Sanada, but him beating Sanada in a singles match would be
massive,
pretty big, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can't see it.
I'm scared now. I'm scared they're going to do Evil Sanada at Wrestle Kingdom again.
Oh, and I don't know if we're getting great energy.
Like the one fleeting thing that people are interested in the New Japan, they're just going to put a fucking pillow over its face and kill it. Kill it stone cold dead.
You think Sanada's taking those kicks? No way.
Have you seen the state of him recently, Sanada? He looks like Boris Johnson with his hair. It's all...
He's a mess.
Totally out of control.
You know what? Know what I find fucking hilarious is, again, he's an attractive man from, however you slice it. But boy, he's a guy that does everything in his power to make himself uglier than him. You know what I mean? Like, he does not lean into the fact that he is an attractive guy. He leans into the fact that I'm going to do things to my face that would, put me down a couple of fucking pegs.
Sabotage my hazard.
It really does. Imagine being
into it, and he would.
No good.
If he had like a good haircut and a nice beard or shaved his face, then men and women would be throwing themselves at him as he went down the street. So that's probably why he did it. It was getting inconvenient.
Yeah, he was just getting getting harassed by women everywhere he went. So he had to say, "All right, I need to do something." No, he's just. Imagine being so attractive that you have to do things to sabotage that. Oh, imagine that! Holy moly! Well, that's what I did.
Yeah, I said,
you know what
happens.
Yeah, let me put on some weight, lose my hair. I had to do it, Joel. I was fighting women off with a stick. All right, enough of the dreams.
We also have Aussie Open in action with unconfirmed opponents, and FTR also announced with unconfirmed opponents. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking, who could they plug in here? Could it be Dangerous Tekkers? Because Zack is wrestling in the semi-finals.
Right.
Could be Bishamon, Goto Yoshihashi. I mean, I just see these as set-up matches. Maybe, I don't know if we're plugging one or both of these teams in World Tag League. I would be stunned if FTR are in World Tag League. Aussie Open, I think, probably should be. So we could put in but Bishamon, Goto Yoshihashi, Aussie Open could, not squash them, but have a convincing win just to give them the momentum.
Can I ask a question here? Why are we hiding who is the wrestling?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What's the point?
Weird, isn't it?
Unless it's something special. Why would I hate to say it, but I think people watch it be somebody fucking just out of the Bryan Danielson.
Holy Demon Army.
Right. It's a fucking Jake Lee and but you're going to be disappointed in this, right? You know the idea of making it okay. We don't know who these guys are going to wrestle. Is going to turn into fucking Yo and Watto. right? Ugh. Tiger Mask. He's got nothing to do.
Yeah, I just see these as sort of showcase matches for both of these teams to get wins, convincing wins in front of the Japanese crowd. And yeah, I guess that's about it, really.
You know what? Have them together. Have them together. Have them wrestle and just make it like a no contest. Right? Like that's a time where you could do a no contest, and I don't think anybody would be upset. You know what I mean? A time limit draw. Do a time limit draw.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Do it.
Thank you.
What did you think of the Royal Quest match they had?
Oh, spectacular! That might be my favorite match in a long time, since maybe G1. Right? Unbelievably great. And again, the crowd helped. Everything helped. I think those two have great chemistry. They have to do that match at Wrestle Kingdom. They'd be dumb not to. Like that's money on the table. Like see, here's the thing. Like that, we were all worried about that match and having the shelf life and having New Japan get that show up, and people were into it in the sense of they waited for that thing to go, and people watched it and were just like, holy fucking shit, yeah, this was great. And I was worried that it was just going to get pushed underneath the carpet and nobody was going to see it and blah blah blah. No, I think it's got enough buzz that people are going out of their way to catch it. But yeah, that's a money match to me. Why don't they just put them together on this show again? Have it be a time limit and a spectacular match so that you're looking forward to, round 3.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Will says, after following New Japan totally for 5 years, my interest has been waning since the G1 ended. At the moment, who's over? What storylines are compelling? And what are you, Damon McDonald, what are you excited about in New Japan?
I'm excited for the future. I definitely am excited for this crop that are, if not here, they're right around the corner. So it is a little bit of a rebuild, but that's exciting to me. I think I am excited about tag belt situation, even though we haven't seen a lot of FTR. The talent is there, and if we're including Aussie Open in the mix, which I've loved for years, awesome. If we want to include in some capacity Okan and Cobb, if we want to include other people coming in, I'm excited at the possibilities of furthering a relationship with AEW. I'm excited about Ospreay and
TV title?
Omega. No, I'm not. I'm not too excited about the TV title. I'm just I don't think this company needs another title. I just don't. What else am I excited for? Excited. That's what I'm excited for. Those are the things and here's the thing too. It's November. Wrestle Kingdom is always good, speculating on what we might see, who's going to show, who's not going to show. I'm excited for Okan and Muda. The idea of that angle, I think that's perfect.
I tell you what, I'm excited for World Tag League. I think we're going to get a lot of fresh faces in the World Tag League and Super Junior Tag League.
A lot of strong representation.
If you're a strong watcher and strong enjoyer like myself, I think we're going to be eating big.
What are you going to be eating?
Beef. Lots of beef.
What kind of beef?
Pastrami.
Ah.
The salted smoked kind.
Peppery. So what you're saying is that you're looking forward to some pastrami sandwiches, some strong pastrami sandwiches, right?
Very much so, David.
Right,
and I don't know. I guess they will announce those lineups maybe at the Eddie show. But yeah, that's something I am looking forward to.
I would agree. I would put that on my list as well.
All right, then. I will quickly give my thoughts on Strong. I've not seen today's episode of Strong. I'll just talk about last week's one. So this was, we saw Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs, West Coast Wrecking Crew, defeating Greg Sharp and Jacob Austin Young in 6 minutes. I really like this team of Greg Sharp and Jacob Austin Young. I talked about Jacob Austin Young, and I thought the terrific match he had with Red Narrator. It wasn't given a huge amount to do in this match, and I think we are setting up West Coast Wrecking Crew as possible challengers for Motor City Machine Guns in the not-too-distant future. And I think they should win those titles because I really like West Coast Wrecking Crew. Second match, we had Yuya Uemura defeat Christopher Daniels in 9 minutes, 48 seconds via roll-up. So it was a classic story here with Uemura and Daniels teaming up for the Strong Tag Title Tournament, and then they lost it in the finals, and then Daniels attacked Uemura after the bell, was like, this rookie has cost me my chance of winning the gold here. And that led into a feud between them, and Uemura just sort of sneaking the win here. But then Christopher Daniels did a big beatdown afterwards. So, I assume this would have been the spot that Carl Fredericks was going to get, because it was going to be, I believe, Fredericks and Daniels initially teaming this tournament. Now, Uemura's got that. So I think this was him just being written off as Strong. So he said on Twitter something like, bye-bye New Japan, Yuya Uemura is available. Yeah. And I asked around, the impression I got was, that's just his Strong write-off. So he's going to go and work at Impact, and along with Impact, he could take additional US indie bookings. So that's the way I interpreted it. I don't see this as Uemura is quitting New Japan. Like, that would be unprecedented for a highly rated young guy to go out on excursion and then just decide that he didn't want to come back in the middle of excursion. I don't think that's ever happened before. So I don't think anyone has any need to panic where Uemura is concerned. And then the main event was Shingo Takagi defeating Rocky Romero in 50 minutes, 49 seconds with Last of the Dragon. This was really good. I would definitely recommend people going out of their way to find this, because we don't often see serious, pissed off Rocky. But when we do, it's always a treat. And I think we forget sometimes that he's actually a really fucking good pro wrestler. And he showed it again in this Shingo match. And, Rocky is a guy who's usually, leads into the comedy, the happy-go-lucky stuff, a lot of tag stuff. But when you see him in a singles match like this, where he's getting fired up and, trading big slaps and getting angry, I always find that as a big treat. I like it when pro wrestlers have different gears that they can go into and show different facets of their personality. And this was a great example of it. So, yeah, wonderful episode of Strong here. I top to bottom, I thought this was a really good one. So there we go. That is New Japan Strong. And that is it for the Super J-Cast. Thank you very much, Damon.
My pleasure. It was good to get back in, and good talking to you. Love it, as always. I'm thrilled to get back in the boat, if you will.
Great. Wonderful to have you back. What a pleasure it's been. We've got over 2 hours here.
I know. By. 20 minutes of it was bullshit, but okay.
What do people come for, David? All right, redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast if you want to throw some money our way. We always appreciate that. Discord link you can get by sending me a direct message on Twitter at Cobra Kawaii and prowrestlingtees.com/super-j-cast for our great t-shirts. Big thank you to Editor Dan. You can find him on Twitter at LoungeHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the Super J-Cast. Thank you everybody for listening, and goodbye.
Waiting for this light to turn green. I'm headed to work for a boss so mean. I'm gonna be late. She's gonna be...
There are some things we should do alone, like sing in your car.
If this light doesn't turn, I'm gonna scream.
But when you gamble, you should always do it with others, because gambling with friends helps keep things in check. So go to keepitfunohio.com for more tips like this. Keep it fun, keep it social, but your singing? Maybe keep that to yourself.
Next time someone needs to send you money, tell them to use Zelle. With Zelle, the money goes straight into your bank account, and it typically only takes minutes between enrolled users. And even if the sender uses a different U.S. bank, it still works. Plus, Zelle is already in over 1,600 banking apps, so you probably won't have to download another one. By the way, make sure the sender has your correct U.S. mobile number or email address so the money goes to the right place. Look for Zelle in your banking app today.